especially his youngest daughter. And she asked me when I see her, George, what are they doing to reopen that case? Now, you all heard in the previous clip, this man addressed inmate Willie James Williams' death. Now, I'm gonna let him tell you a little bit more about it, and you who don't know nothing about it at the Justice Department, you who don't know nothing about it in Georgia legislature, you who don't know nothing about it in other circles of civil and human rights and women's rights organizations, Google a chorus of fear, Valdosta, Georgia, and inmate Willie James Williams. I'm also gonna add this. Now, I'm a person who's gonna tell the truth, and you know what happened to people who speak the truth. Sooner or later they're heard. Now listen to this brother here. Tell us what you was about to tell us about the Willie James Williams case.
Yes, sir. 1998, we are morning of September. I lived on Lee Street. Mr. Williams was a good acquaintance. Mr. Williams was getting ready to leave my prison, and that's where he was pulled over by a Lowndes County Sheriff's deputy. At that time, Mr. Williams was pulled over by that deputy. I'm sitting there, I'm monitoring and witnessing the whole incident. There where this deputy began to harass, what I mean about harass, began to speak verbal language to Mr. Williams. When this deputy began to speak that verbal language, Mr. Williams then also himself began to speak upon his respect as being a man. That was there at the house of 606 Lee Street. That's where the officer stopped Mr. Williams. And at this time, this officer grabbed Mr. Williams. He slammed Mr. Williams like that. Mr. Williams was a small man, as I am, and taller than I. He slammed Mr. Williams. He took his foot and he stomped him in the back of his head. Mr. Williams' head then hit the curving of the road. And therefore, this officer, seeing that Mr. Williams was defeated, that's where he called other officers. Other officers would come there, and then Mr. Williams began to tell the officer, you see how I done this black nigga? And they began to laugh. They got Mr. Williams, put him in a squad car, transported him to the Lowndes County Jail. Lowndes County Jail staff members, medical, supposed to have gave attention to him, called the paramedics, and there Mr. Williams was pronounced dead. Okay, unfair justice to Mr. Williams' death. Unfair justice to Mr. Williams' family. I don't know why Valdosta Daily Times, and on the bad part about it, people of Lowndes County, this is not no hearsay, this is a known fact. The officer that did this to Mr. Williams got $3 million lawsuit from Valdosta Daily Times. From Valdosta Daily Times. A $3 million lawsuit. Why should this officer get this lawsuit? Because something that was published, that was true. That's why Valdosta Daily Times don't cover their story. That's when it comes down to the law enforcement.
Bro, I got to ask you a question. Brother Ryan believe in truth. I don't like nothing that is not based on fact because it serves no purpose under the teachings of Jesus. What do you mean by this lawsuit in the Valdosta Daily Times?
The lawsuit that went on the Valdosta Daily Times for publishing that story.
You mean the Lake Park Post, you mean?
Yes, yes, sir.
It wasn't the Valdosta Daily Times?
No, sir, no.
And they were sued out of existence. I see where you're coming from. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they were sued out of existence for using the word murder. And I think the Valdosta Daily Times, if I ain't mistaken, might have came close to it if they didn't say murder too at some point.
Yes, sir.
I talked to Al Parsons. In fact, Al Parsons, everybody watch this, gave me all the information that he had 3 days before he died concerning what is happening in this community. And I am determined to follow and respect people such as this brother here. What's your name once again, brother?
Glenn Clements, sir.
Glenn Clements, I thank you for your courage, but above all, I thank you for your godliness. Because to do this represents that you know something about the God of the universe, regardless of whether you drink, smoke, do dope, or what have you. We know there are some people who don't do any of those things, but when it comes down to trying to help their fellow man, they are nowhere to be found. They'll holler hallelujah and hallelujah in church, but when they're outside the walls of the church, all they can say is I hallelujah. So what else you want to say, brother? So I understand what you meant. So that's what you meant by the Lake Park Post being sued out of existence. And Charles Moore is now moved out of the city because he was so distraught by trying to stand up for truth like I'm doing. And don't be surprised if they come at me. But if they come at me, that's why most of my records are filed in 3 different locations, and I got somebody working on that in case something happened to me. And so we understand all of this stuff. But there's there come a time in life, and I guess that's where you are, where everybody can't go silent. Close it out, anything you want. Just take your time and tell us some more, because we need to know.
Yes, the little that I do know for a fact also, if there's any call upon a black race of people here in Valdosta-Lowndes County, it could be paramedic-wise or someone need assistance. There's no quick assistance. There's no quick response. But in a white community, not being racial, but in a white community, they call, they're here in a split second. And that's just the way it is in the jails and in the penitentiaries. When one of the staff members gets sick, they're there in a split second. But when the inmates get sick, or someone that's black in the community, they take their time. There's a lot of loud noise on these vehicles, but a lot of slow moving. And for the Rhyme, for the Board Road, I appreciate this for y'all standing up, and the very few that still are. Because King had his dream. And I'm gonna do mine in my 53 years now to make that dream happen with you and whoever that may be concerned.